Hi, I just received Moldex 3D 2026 Release 1, and in this video I want to go through the preferences and other parameters like the meshing and computation. Um, so you can use it or you can do whatever you want with it, but these are the preferences that I prefer normally. First of all, I have the preferences up here. I use English in language, and then I have a computation. I put in 8 because that's what our servers normally run with. Then I don't have to change every time I upload a job. So if you have a license for 8 parallel computing, put in 8. If 12 and you're using 12, put in 12. Then you don't have to correct every time. Um, I put in automatic save every 5 minutes, remove temporary files after analysis, show project summary while opening a project. You can turn that off, then you don't get the overview of all the runs when you start the program. Show file names uh, before you um, make a snapshot from this bottom up here. Um, not export for the viewer. This is just some display, and I use the compress so the project doesn't fill too much. And then a new one is the model import. I will use this Moldex 3D default colors. I like that. Otherwise, you can ask every time, and then it ask if it should use the inherit colors from the cat part or Moldex. What will, I'm glad to minimize my number of clicks. Tolerances, yeah, you can try it out. If there's something with your model import, maybe change some of these tolerances. And then the unit system, I'll use it the default here. And for the number format, I use 3 digits, and then I use the largest number here and the smallest number here. Then I get rid of, let's say, 1000 is 1 times 3 in the power of 1 times 10 in the power of 3. Um, and then the meshing or the render quality, this is only visual, but I use 0.2 here, there. And then I have the e-design, which for you using BLM is not important, but these are my settings. Sometimes I also tick this one on. And for the BLM, I have this one. This one is I once in a while is turning on or on and off if I get a very small mesh size automatic. Then I turn this one off. This one I put on. It's just so it aligns a bit more the mesh seeding for separate edges. You can change this for 11. It doesn't change anything really, unless it only gives you a possibility to raise the number of boundary layers to 11. I use this boundary layer mesh thickness so the outer layers are a bit thinner. You can choose that or not. Then I use the general hex space solid mesh for the curve meshing, and also the automatic fit curve detect or fix curve defects. Then I check the mesh automatically, I don't want bad elements, and I don't want allow non-matching. If you have a problem maybe with a part insert and the connections between or the mesh matching between a part insert and a part, then you could sometimes go in and put this on and say, okay, I don't care about mesh matching. And then keep match surfaces during gate rebuild. That's also when you have a part or mold insert, then it doesn't throw away the matching surfaces. And I take this one off. I would be in control of when I need the mold base. And also this simple cooling system. Here, these are only colors, you can play with that. Then I have the graphic, it's the special nodes. Yeah, normally I don't screw too much about it. Uh, I don't change a lot on these. And then I have the snap. I think default is advanced mode, but I always use classic mode because then I fold out this snap area down here. Otherwise, I need to click 2 times just to get in and change. Then there's a new section here where you can make a template for the process and the computation parameters. I will have a separate video on that. And also the verification template. But yeah, this one is very useful. And then the keyboards, some shortcuts, and then you can, in the view manipulation, you can change it, but I never change it because I'm used to it, this way of doing it. Okay, that was for the preferences. Then we have meshing parameters here under the mesh. It's split in the way geometry meshing, curve meshing, and hybrid meshing. Hybrid meshing is only for compression molding or such processes. But for the curve geometry meshing, I use the part. I normally use 5 boundary layers and automatic. For the part insert, yeah, if it's steel, you don't need boundary layers. If it's a plastic part, it's maybe nice that you have 3 boundary layers that can remelt. And that's also why they need to be in the outer surfaces. Runner, yeah, 5 layers, boundary layers. Cooling channels, 5 boundary layers. And mold insert, if it's steel, pure tetra, that's good enough. Curve meshing, runner, I use this one, and for the cooling channel, I'll use the default also. That was this. And this is my normal analysis: transient cool, fill, pack, transient cool, warp. And for the computation, I used enhanced, customize, take all these on, no gravity. I use here, edit. I use volume filled percentage, and 10. Then I get like this. And for the packing, I use 19 normally, spread over the packing time. Of course, it sometimes has to be adjusted if it's really a long packing time. Yes, and then I use estimate required cooling time. Gives you a fast cooling time, theoretical cooling time based on wall thickness. I don't use this gate freeze parameters. But if you tick that on, you have to go into the log file and look for the results. Run fiber orientation analysis. I click this or on, of course, if I have fibers, and I use the well-lined particles. And then I take every one of these calculation parameters on. Then for the cooling, I normally check this one on, but if it's only straight lines, I think the network analysis is a good. It only works by a line where the cooling channels are missed from a line directly to solid. So that's why the default is this. I use the transient 9 steps, the solver parameters. Here, click. I use these settings. Of course, you can go a bit down here in temperature difference, and it will take a bit longer calculating to a converged result. Yeah, and for the 3D, I use this turbulence. And for the warp, I use enhanced, and then if they're all available, this is related to the material that is grayed out. But if it's available, I always tick this one on. Also, it makes really only a really small difference. And for the general compressed results file after calculation. And the sharp eye would see that there's no template setting anymore.